Hi friends, and welcome to another watch-along episode of We Read It One Night, the part of the podcast where we talk about romance TV shows. In this episode, we're chatting about Bridgerton Season 1, Episode 7, and all the exciting angst that gets packed into it. We also expose some Taylor Swift devil-worshipping conspiracy theories. Rachel reveals an urgent need to rewatch The Incredibles 2, and Alison has a confession about Queen Charlotte. Why not leave us a rating and review while you're listening before checking out our Etsy shop, Evelyn and Adelaide, for some merch for the girls, gays, and theys. Enjoy the show. You're developing a new penchant for making lemon-flavored things, and I don't like it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Callie really likes it.
Oh, I see.
I'm not forcing you to eat
Whatever.
them. I'll make you anti-lemon. Don't worry. I'll make you lime.
That's still citric acid.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like my stomach is like, oh, it's not lemons.
I just feel like you boldly commit to lemon when it suits you. Like, I can't. I feel like there was something recently that I was like, how can you eat that? And you were like, oh, whatever. It just gives me the shits.
Yeah, it does. Most things are not worth the shits, but sometimes I come across something that is worth the shits.
Well, maybe these lemon bars, well, they're not
I sincerely
overbaked.
doubt not. Things where lemon is the primary flavor, ain't it?
I feel like lemon always becomes the primary flavor. I'm going to be honest.
I think it depends how much lemon you're putting in there.
We took our lunch break at 4 p.m. on Friday, and we're walking back and ran into our usual Starbucks barista. And literally we were crossing the street, middle of an intersection. And she's like, so I quit. And we were like, what? And then literally started telling us, literally in the middle of the street, started telling us, and we were like, let's get over it. It's just really stressed. Yeah, no. But I was like, that's actually so on brand for what I would be doing if I quit, if something like that happened, I ran into someone who I knew even peripherally, this is also just to be clear, the most I've ever talked to this girl, it was always just oh, hi. I think the longest conversation we had was a few weeks ago when somehow there's another girl that works there. Taylor Swift came up, and she starts immediately as oh, well, if only she didn't drink so much blood to stay young. Literally the QAnon, just it sounded like something like that.
Not as a joke?
Not as a joke, straight up conspiracy. She's well, I don't know. I just don't like her that much because she's a devil worshiper.
I'm watching this documentary. It's called, what is it? Shiny Happy People. It's a documentary about the Duggars, but also the evangelical cult basically that they belong to, IBLP. And one of the teachings of that cult is that Cabbage Patch Kids, that the creator of Cabbage Patch Kids is a warlock, and that each Cabbage Patch Kid, somewhere on the production line, is infested with a demon. So if you take home a Cabbage Patch Kid, you're bringing a demon.
Oh my God. Wait, really?
It sounds funny, but there's these ex IBLP people who were yeah, I mean, that's really terrifying for a kid, thinking that you're going to bring the power of the devil into your house and condemn your whole family.
Wait, and that's the Duggars? That's really wild.
Yeah, no, the Duggars are insane. Well, part of the documentary is they did a really good job for a really long time convincing everyone that they were just this little happy, not little,
normal,
obviously.
Yeah, big normal family. Yeah. Wow.
Speaking of restrictive societies, let's go into the Regency era.
Yay.
Which actually wasn't as restrictive as it's often portrayed as.
Really?
It's the same thing as when, people talk about the 1950s and it was the nuclear family and everyone was happy, now, that idealized version. That's the same thing with the idea that people in the Regency era didn't fuck and wear slutty clothes and is absurd.
I don't really think anyone thinks that compared to the Victorian era. That's where that stereotype comes from.
I mean, I think it's both. I think when people think of the Regency era, they usually think of Jane Austen. Bridgerton Episode 7. Daphne and Simon are being passive aggressive towards each other.
Daphne's angry piano playing. Yeah.
Yeah, and Simon's shooting birds, and he's using real birds. Now, I didn't bother to look up when clay pigeons were invented, but I have to think that they would have been around by this time. Why is he shooting real doves?
No, I know it's so mean. They like zoom in on the poor little pigeons on their little faces.
Yeah.
Like
Clay
no, I
pigeons have to
know.
have existed. Like,
Yeah, but they're not as fun. I'm sure. Like
yeah,
if
they
you're like
are.
into killing things.
Well,
Like
when were clay
that's
pigeons
a clay
invented?
pigeon. Isn't a clay pigeon just like wait, what is a clay pigeon? I thought you just like throw it up into the air.
Oh, they didn't start being used until 1875. A clay pigeon is basically like you like trebuchet it like into the air.
But what's special about it? It's literally just like a clay. Like what needed to be invented? They could have always been doing that, couldn't
I
they?
think they just like started using that. Like, I don't know,
But
maybe
isn't
the
it like a
shooter
predictable, but
device.
isn't it like a
Like,
predictable arc? Like it's just like a thing you throw into the air. So it's not going to be like moving the way a live animal would.
yeah, but the purpose of the live animal is that you let it out of a box, it flies in a predictable direction, and then you shoot it. Like,
Yeah, okay.
it's not, you're not testing your skills
Okay,
any
yeah.
more than with a clay pigeon.
Yeah, well, that's just silly. But it doesn't seem like, yeah, it just seems like they're being assholes no matter what. Like they could have always been non-assholes. Yeah.
But yeah, Daphne's pettiness at the beginning is honestly like really hilarious because it's so weak. Like the
I
things that she
know.
does is aggressively play the piano, and then when they get news that Colin has been involved in a scandal and they have to go back to London, she's like, we're going to take your biggest carriage so that I have space. And I'm like, that's all you got?
I know. Not even like a separate carriages.
Girl.
I know, it's
I was
so
like,
silly.
he has more than one. You probably could have taken separate. So dumb.
That would be
Like, you
wasteful.
really
Don't
thought
be
you were
silly.
doing something there,
I
Daphne, but you
know.
weren't. You weren't. I'm sorry.
So yeah, they're like going back. They're mad, big mad. They have
The
like the funny,
Featherington.
yeah, the
Sorry.
Featheringtons get like kicked out of a party, which is like really like what were they supposed to do? Like what is the like proper? I guess the proper course in that
Send
situation
them
is to just like
away.
kick out the kid. Yeah,
Yeah. Send her away.
yeah. It's just really bold.
Send her back to her family. Yeah.
It's just really
And
bold.
honestly, like, people shit on Penelope
Oh,
for
no,
like
her family.
ruining
Okay.
Marina's life, but like,
Yeah.
she fucked over herself and her family too. I don't know whether that makes it better or worse. You know?
It just shows like the depths she was willing to stoop to. I don't know. Yeah, it's really, yeah.
I think
Well,
it just shows
what
she's a
if it was
dumb
one of your
kid.
kids? Like, were you supposed to like kick them
You
out?
you
Yeah.
take them to the country. Oh, I know this. I know this
Mm,
because we started watching
yeah.
this show called Belgravia, in which
Mm-hmm.
the inciting incident is that the daughter
Mm-hmm.
gets pregnant and then she dies in childbirth. But the whole thing is like, she got pregnant, they go off and live in the country for 9 months, like the mom and her. She gives birth, they give the baby for adoption, and then the plan was for her to come back, but she's dead. So
Yeah. I just like, it's just really, the plan was for her to come back and like pretend like everything was fine.
yeah, to just pretend like, yeah, we were just convalescing in the country.
Mm, bold. Yeah, like I sent you I think I sent you this TikTok like a few days ago. It was like an Oprah clip. And it was like ethical dilemmas. Like, if your teenage child is accused of minor burglary, do you turn them into the police? And it was just like a funny or whatever. But like, that's just like so wild to me that that's considered like an ethical dilemma. Like, I'm sorry. If you would turn in, like, an ethical dilemma is like your sibling kills your spouse and looks at you and is like, I do it again to another family member. Like, that's an ethical dilemma. Like, what do you do? A minor burglary? A
Listen,
minor burglary of a
the
teenage
only
child?
like burglary my teenage child could commit that I would like be genuinely like, what the fuck, is if they like, I don't know,
No, you
stole
can.
someone's insulin or something.
No, you can be like, what the fuck? I'm not saying not to be mad at them or like punish them in any way, but like to turn them into the cops? Like, are you kidding me? What? Well, like the lady responding was like, no, I would not turn them in because I believe that I could make my house like a jail. But
I
like,
mean,
I just don't understand. I don't know. That's just really wild to me that that's like, I'm sorry, like, but like, I'm not even saying even major burglary, even like something way worse. Again, literally the thing that an ethical dilemma would literally be like a family member kills another one and then says, I do it again. Like, Anyway, Daphne gets invited to the married ladies group, which is funny.
Which is so
Yeah.
pointless. Like the only point of it is to connect her to the
Yeah, that's
general's wife,
true.
which is also not necessary. Like
Yeah.
it's
I don't know.
just
There's a lot of pointless. I mean, that's at least like fun. Like at least that could have been like a running conceit that like never
right.
comes back.
Why wasn't it in season? I mean, there are a
Yeah.
lot of things in the season that weren't in season 2. For example, when
Mm-mm.
Simon eats Daphne out on the stairs, it just
And then
made me
it's like,
so
fuck you.
viscerally angry about the lack of that in season 2, about the fact that like we didn't get any of that in season 2. I
Yeah. And then
just
he's like, fuck you.
uh,
Yeah.
also in that scene, Simon goes into his bedroom door, and I mean, I know they use like actual historical houses, like, you know, they film in like, you know,
Okay.
places. So this is like a real house that they're filming in. His door, when it opened, the door was cut in half. Like,
Oh yeah.
like the
There's a
door
reason for
frame,
that,
like
isn't there?
I just
Maybe it's so that you can
why?
like maybe so that you can slide in like a trolley if you're like delivering room service type food and then like not see. I don't
But
know.
why build it so that you would have to cut the door? Why not just make the door frame narrower?
Oh,
Why
it's in
make it so
half
that
vertical? Oh, wait,
yes.
maybe I didn't notice
No.
that.
It's vertically like there's like a whole third of it that is attached to the wall, but it's like within a door frame. You know what I
Oh.
mean?
Yeah, no, I missed that.
It's
Wait, that's
bizarre. Why does it
listen.
look like that?
I don't know. Maybe
Why
like
who made that choice?
maybe they wanted it to be narrower, but there was already like a hole there. Like, I don't know. Maybe they like got a new door and there was like a hole for a bigger old door. Or like maybe they added on some of the wall. I
No,
don't know.
it
Maybe
was like a
termites got some
built-in
of the
door.
wall.
Like the door like matched, like was
Mm,
supposed to meant to blend in with the rest of the wall.
listen, I don't know.
What is this choice? I need someone to explain this.
I'm
I
gonna go
feel
back
like
and watch it now.
I can't think of an example, but I do feel like I've seen that before in other like period pieces where they're like in these
Yeah.
houses where there's this weird door thing. I've never had an explanation for it.
Yeah. I don't yeah, I feel like you're right. I want to be picturing the right thing though. I'll go back later. Um, Daphne chews Violet out and she's like, if you had informed me of the truth, perhaps I and I'm like, perhaps what? Like what would she have done differently? Like it's unclear. Like, yeah, that sucks that Violet like
Well, if she
didn't
knew
tell
that the way
her.
that babies were made was that was that the guy comes inside you,
Yeah.
she would have known, oh, that's weird. He's coming. He
Well,
can
sure.
come, but he's choosing not to do it inside me like much earlier.
Well, sure, I guess. But it's just like it only seems like it's a few days, like in the I don't know.
Oh no, it's like a week.
Like what would she
Like
have done?
they're
Like
only
scraped
I
off
don't
the
know.
cum? Like I don't know. Like she wouldn't
Were
have like
turkey
not.
basters around the
Yeah, listen.
little pipette?
Yeah. Yeah,
She would make her
unclear.
maid do it. Her maid Rose.
Yeah.
She'd be like, Rose.
And I'm just hearing this conversation from Violet's perspective and like it just sounds like it sound like I if you heard that, like wouldn't you assume that it was like really horrible experience for her and he like
Yeah.
maybe even was like assaulting her and she just like doesn't seem
Yeah.
that concerned at all. Like,
No. No. Also, Lady Danbury overhears this. And okay, so I do want to say that I did watch the Queen Charlotte show. And I actually, there were a lot of very problematic things with it, but overall, I enjoyed it.
mhm.
And I still think the Queen is so unnecessary, but I do like her character a lot more now that I have had her backstory. But
Mhm.
in that series, Lady Danbury like has to teach the queen about sex like before her and the king like consummate the marriage. She like tells her about sex and draws this
Mhm.
woman literal diagrams. There's like 20 of them scattered across the room. And I'm like, Lady Danbury overhearing this conversation, like you're not even gonna slip Daphne a little diagram to try to help.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, at that point, she doesn't need it, I guess. I mean, she still probably
I
could
know, but it's
benefit, but
like
like, or like, I'm sorry, like, if she heard the whole conversation, like, go have a talking to with Simon and be like, why are you hurting your wife? Like,
I think she heard only the end of it. I don't think that
okay. Well,
she
then
like
so
walks
she
in
would,
on it.
so then she wouldn't know like what it was about. So I guess
Yeah,
that's
I don't
why.
know.
Yeah. Like, I feel like Violet is not anywhere near as concerned as she should be, or somehow like understood the subtext that like I don't think was really there.
Yeah, and then Daphne, there's a whole subplot where Daphne's projecting on Marina and like trying to help Marina, which will somehow give herself autonomy. I don't know. It's stupid. The really big takeaway I had with this is, why don't the wives of generals and like other officers, like why don't they get cool titles too? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
an earl, like it's an earl and a countess. It's like a duke and a duchess. Why isn't why is the wife of a general just Mrs.?
I guess because
feel
it's
like
not,
that's rude.
it's not like passed down, I guess. Like,
It doesn't have to be passed down, because
okay.
if you're a knight, your wife gets to be lady.
Fair enough. My biggest takeaway was like, why the fuck didn't anyone else, like, why didn't the Featheringtons even try to like track down this George man and like force him to marry Marina? I don't know. That just seems like an obvious first course of action. I guess they were like, it's obvious he doesn't like want to talk to her if he's like ignoring her that much, but like try to force him in
He's
some
in
way.
the
Like,
war.
sure, but like they don't even try. They just like go straight to faking his death. That turns out to be his real death. But like, I don't know.
No, they don't fake his death.
Or like contact the
They write a
family.
breakup letter.
Yeah. Oh, right. You're right. Like, or like contact his family or something. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's not like, because they're boldly out here like getting Marina to marry like fancy people. It's not like he would be like too good to marry her or something. Like, it's not like they would have some reason for like thinking he didn't owe her like a duty or whatever.
Yeah. Anthony and Simon have a little tussle, and I just want to say it was vastly funnier in 1.5 at like 1.5 speed. Like Simon like slamming Anthony into a table, and it's just like it's like a Looney Tune. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really
That
funny.
was harsh. And then Daphne like takes care of his cut and like gives him the whole speech of like, he's like, I made a vow to my father. And she's like, you made a vow to me. And it was just like, it's giving like from The Incredibles, like, I am your wife. I am the greatest good you are ever going to get. Like,
I mean, Daphne wishes she were as cool as Frozen's wife. Like,
yeah.
really, sincerely.
Yeah.
Does Frozen's wife make an appearance in Incredibles 2?
I was just thinking that. I don't think so. Oh, Incredibles 2? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Incredibles. She doesn't in Incredibles 1. It's just her voice. But like, do we get a reveal in Incredibles 2? Because it takes place right after Incredibles 1.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't think so. But I have to rewatch that.
I have to rewatch Incredibles 2.
Why not? Rewatched Incredibles 1 recently.
I know, just the way that you said it was just so like, oh yeah, shit. Like, it's been on my to-do list for a while now to rewatch Incredibles 2. As if it's the most like natural thing in the world.
Listen, it actually has for some reason. It keeps coming up. Listen.
Okay.
I think it's really funny. So after the Featheringtons got kicked out of like the Queen's tea or whatever the fuck, like party, and then like Lady Whistledown, like her next paper is like, and like this week the only thing that happened was like, I forget, like the scandal, and like no other event of note. And the Queen's reading it and she's like, no other event of note. And I'm like, that's what you fucking get. Listen. No, it's played yourself. You played yourself.
Got kicked out.
No, yeah. I know.
Just like the fact that nobody, like, I think Eloise briefly makes that. Oh, like, I don't know. Eloise almost gets there and then she doesn't make that connection.
Yeah, like she doesn't think of like Penelope as an option at all.
Yeah.
Which like, I know in Penelope's
no, I get.
No, yeah, I know in Penelope's head, she's probably thinking like, oh, she's probably like she's like discounting me as like whatever. But it's probably because she's just like, well, this is my best friend. Like, obviously, if she were Lady Whistledown, I would know. Tell me. Yeah.
I mean, I do think it is a little bit Eloise underestimating Penelope. Like, I think I don't know. You see that a lot in both seasons, that she just kind of like steamrolls over her sometimes and like doesn't really take her feelings into account all the time. Yeah,
that's true. She's like, we should just do that. Yeah, but still, it's like it's another perfectly reasonable explanation for it.
Yeah. But the Queen fires Eloise from being her investigator. She's like, I've hired a team of Bow Street runners. And I'm like, why didn't you do that in the first place? Why was your first option a teenager?
No,
why didn't you like what?
Yeah. No, I know. It's whatever. The whole thing doesn't make any whatever. The Queen's gonna do what the Queen's gonna do. We also have like the more like the Benedict's like being gay but not gay. Like we have this like whole conversation with him and like his gay friend man. And he's like, oh, I'm living outside the bounds of society. And he's like, you talk of doing the same, but like, will you ever be brave enough, like, to Benedict? And Benedict's solution to that is like getting a mistress, like hooking up with the fucking modiste, which I guess I made me realize actually, like watching especially these two episodes, like how much the show leans into like that somehow an affair would be like improper for a man also, when it's like not at all. Like it's weird because like then when Benedict like says that to Anthony and Anthony's chill with it, everyone looks surprised. But like Anthony's been doing the same thing. I don't know. It's just like weird.
No,
and
it
they
doesn't make
act as if like
sense.
it could have like any consequences for Colin.
No.
Like when Marina, although I guess it would be like people thought he was the father. But like
no, but she's a lower class what? Like it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
her virtue doesn't matter the way.
No, I know.
The other ones
No,
do.
I know. But still, even like with
I was giving Benedict severe side eye for a different reason in this like bombastic side eye, one might say, in this conversation, because he's like judging the gay friend because so like they're at a party and the gay friend's boyfriend is like flirting with Cressida, like clearly planning to get married. And Benedict is like, well, like, do like the ladies that your lover is courting like know about that? And I'm just like,
I mean, that's fair.
As if right, but as if that's not like most aristocratic marriages. Not that like the husband's secretly gay, but that it's not like this beautiful love match. And frankly, like it's more about like love and property combination.
Yeah, sure.
And frankly, I think most historical gals would probably love to have a gay husband because it would mean that he wouldn't like come in and do poking very often. Like they could just live their lives.
That's true. Yeah, no. Listen.
Just saying. Listen. If given the option, I think I would prefer a gay husband.
Well, and because they're probably like cheating on you no matter what.
Right. Wait, I saw this article that was like, it was a headline. It was like star of like famous like porn star of like, I guess this like man on man series or whatever, like this really popular series, like is arrested for beating up 35 neo-Nazis. And I was like, that's a hero right there.
What?
I was like, why? We're like the two parts of the headline were not related, but like, it's like, what a wild ride from start to finish.
Yeah. Listen. Oh my God. Then we have Marina's abortion attempt. She tries to like take some tea
juice. Yeah.
And like ends up collapsing, but like definitely not having an abortion.
No. And the doctor is like, that never worked. Like, it's so stupid. It never works. But I've actually done some research on this.
Yeah, you have.
And it did work most of the time. Like, if it wasn't like made properly and if you like took too much.
Yeah, like who knows what she made.
It could kill you. But like, if you took the right stuff, it was very effective, especially like early in pregnancy. Like, it definitely, I'm not saying what she made was right, but I'm saying that the abortion juice was more effective than people give it credit for.
How did she even like find out what to do? I wouldn't like,
because she's the country girl who's of the world.
Fair enough. Okay, listen. Well, take note, dear listener.
Women just know we're born.
I
with
need that in the modern
day.
To
make the abortion.
Listen. We should like Google that now.
No, I have an article
off the internet
of this woman. It's like a research article. She was like, yeah, I went to this like herbalist lady in New York City.
Does it tell you the recipe?
And yes.
Okay.
And she was like, and she taught me how to make this. And like, here are the different herbs that you like can use.
What is it?
I don't know. The title is Drink Me and Abort Your Baby, the herbal abortion tea.
Oh my God.
Oh, I don't know. What's the mugwort, pennyroyal? Yeah, I don't know. Listen, it's many pages and it's academic, so I can't really scan it. But mugwort, pennyroyal are two of them. I am not, listener, in any way suggesting that you attempt these, because while they could be effective and they were used for many years, hundreds of years, they can also have long-lasting negative health effects. So like, don't don't do that. Don't, please.
Okay, so the last thing that happens is Daphne's like, I'm not pregnant.
Daphne senses her period coming, as we all know, all women can do. And then
Right.
she puts a little, and then of course the period always comes. She puts a little handkerchief down there, and the period always comes in bright red, like just a little stripe across the handkerchief. As we all know, that's what it looks like.
Yikes. And then Marina's like dead on the floor. Not actually dead, but like Penelope finds
No,
her.
I think she like she gets found. She gets like revived.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I know she doesn't die. But...
No. In this episode, I'm saying the doctor like is like,
okay.
It doesn't work. Blah blah blah. You know.
No, that's the next episode.
No, it's this episode because I specifically wrote it down.
No, the doctor, it doesn't work. It's definitely episode 8, like towards the end. I literally just finished watching it just before we got on this. I promise. There's like tears. There's a single tear rolling down her face. And then the very next scene is Anthony between the opera singer, whatever the fuck her name is, legs. And they're like happy and in love or whatever. So like, as far as we know, Marina's dead. DED dead.
I don't think so. Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you believe me?
Anyway, the beginning of episode 8.
She might be revived, but the doctor thing is definitely not.
Okay.
Alison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It One Night. You can't find me on TikTok anymore because as of the recording of this episode, I'm still permanently banned.
Oh,
no. Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can email us, wereaditonenight@gmail.com. Free ways to support us include downloading the episodes because that's how podcast metrics are measured. You can also leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening. Non-free ways, enjoy going to our Etsy shop and getting some pretty sweet swag, if I do say so myself.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.